Hello everyone. Welcome to Ching Chang Pong Cho. Hmm, what's that? You will find out by the end of this video. In this video, I will talk about Beckn Protocol. The aim of this video is to simplify Beckn for both tech and non-tech folks. Let's get started. I'm at the homepage of Beckn, becknprotocol.io. Beckn is a set of interoperable and universally accepted standards and protocols which allow different digital platforms to connect with each other and help create a open and a decentralized digital ecosystem. It can be applied across varied sectors like mobility, logistics, energy, and so on. These are some of the implementations of Beckn. ONDC is a big one, Open Network for Digital Commerce, and Namayatri, which is a peer-to-peer auto booking application, or Onest, which is Open Network for Education and Skilling Platforms. They are all implementations of Beckn. Alright, so now we know what Beckn and ONDC is. Wait, I talked about simplification, but I don't think I'm anywhere close. Before we deep dive and see what it is, check out this video.
ONDC basically, in a way, government का Zomato है. Like that's the easiest way to explain it.
Okay, so looks like ONDC is an app or a website set up by the government which allows you to check out restaurant menus or you can maybe order food online using ONDC. Makes sense.
It's a government initiative trying to onboard all kinds of small businesses on a platform and make all kinds of small businesses, be it kirana, etc., basically come online and really unbundle the entire value chain.
Okay, so it's more than that. As a small Kriana store, I will get a platform where I can come on and upload my inventory and catalog and come online so that people can start buying my stuff. Looks pretty impressive. Now the next question is, if Beckn and ONDC provides all this, how do I get started? Do I go to beckn.com, ondc.com, or do I download some app to get started? How will I start checking out the menus uploaded on ONDC? How will a restaurant even upload their menus on ONDC? How will a Kirana store come online? Who is paying for all these big platforms? To understand all this, let's go a step back. Let's look at how a basic commerce transaction works in a real non tech world. So let's look at a basic buyer seller interaction. The buyer here has money and the buyer wants to buy a cake. The buyer knows where the shop is and she can talk in the language which the seller would understand. How does it work? The buyer goes to the shop and asks the seller to give her the cake. They agree upon a price, buyer pays the price to the seller and takes the product home. This looks fairly simple. Let's look at another situation. Let's assume the same buyer wants to buy a cake but in a different country. What changes? The buyer doesn't know where the shop is and buyer doesn't know the language of that country. What can the buyer do? The buyer goes to a trusted friend and the friend has a list of all the shops nearby. The friend can find out from the shops nearby if they have the product which the buyer wants. If they do, he will send the buyer to that particular shop. What about the second problem? The language. The friend can actually teach a certain keywords or cheat codes to the buyer so that she will be able to interact with the seller just to make the transaction. The buyer goes to the shop, pays the required amount of money, and takes the product home. Again, what does this have to do with Beckn or ONDC? To understand further, let's see how any e commerce store like Amazon works. The same seller who was selling the cake decides to put his inventory online on Amazon. Now, Amazon being Amazon, it manages the end to end flow. It provides a dashboard to manage the inventory, it promotes your product, it manages the delivery logistics. However, in all of this, it charges a huge commission. But what else can I do? As a seller, I can go to another platform, say Flipkart, but again, they charge a huge commission. Can I not put my product on ONDC, which is the Zomato of the government, powered by Beckn, and boom, no high commissions? But wait, ONDC or Beckn does not provide any application, any website, or any platform for me to upload my product. So, how does it work? We looked earlier that Beckn is the open interoperable standards and protocols which connect different digital entities together. Let's go back to the example where the buyer went to Japan. Why could she not talk to the seller? That's because they were not talking in the same language. The same happens with digital entities. Now let's assume a seller puts the product on Amazon. Will it magically appear on Flipkart? No. But why? Because Amazon and Flipkart have their own databases where they store their data. They have their own backend servers exposing APIs, WebSockets, and whatnot. They have no way to talk to each other. They do not have a common language, and they do not want to talk to each other because they are independent platforms. Now let's see in simple words what Beckn, or in our case ONDC, is providing for e-commerce. The role of Beckn is exactly similar to the role which the trusted friend played for the buyer in Japan. It tells a digital entity where it can find an item, at what address, and tells the entity how to communicate with that other digital entity. Any existing entity, say Amazon or Paytm, or a new entity can become a part of the Beckn network. Beckn is a facilitator which connects buyers and sellers in a digital world. As a seller platform, I will register on Beckn network and inform that I sell cake in a particular area. Any buyer platform willing to buy a cake on behalf of the buyer will ask the Beckn network where I can find the cake. It will say, go talk to digital entity abc.com. It has exposed a few APIs for you to interact with it and place the order. To further deep dive, we need to understand a few more components in the Beckn world. In the next video, we will talk about BAP, which is the Beckn Application Platform, BPP, Beckn Provider Platform, BG, Beckn Gateway, and Beckn Registry, and we will also see who manages these pieces in the Beckn world, ONDC in our context. What was Ching Chang Pong Cho? The way Beckn is establishing a common language for digital entities, I tried to establish a code word for hustle with Herman. I will see you in the next video. Stay tuned. Bye bye.